I think it's true. I think it's a very relevant statement. For context, I used to work at Slack before I worked at Notion. And I think the change there that I got to witness was companies that adopted Slack just saw a lot more transparency and a lot more open communication. You saw work happen faster. You saw less people get left out of conversations. So, I mean, I know this isn't about Notion, but in my time at Slack, I definitely saw this where with channels, anybody can add anyone to the channel and they get all the context of what's happened in the project. No one feels left out. Whereas with email, you have to remember to add the right people to the right threads. You sometimes don't get added to the thread. You feel bad. You feel left out. So I think Slack was an example of a type of company and a product that changed the way that companies work. And it made work a better place. I think Notion's similar. It's a very permissive data model where you start off with pages that are public, and we encourage public first sharing. We added some team spaces and some more permissioning after that. But in general, the idea is that you should have access to the things you want access to. And there shouldn't be informational silos between teams and companies. So with Notion, it's very easy for a team to publish the right type of content to everyone at a company. So on the engineering team, I can tell everyone at the company, here's how you can file web reports. And anyone can add them and can edit them. And there's a lot more transparency within a company. So definitely agree that the tools that you use will make or break a company's culture, especially in this remote first world, where more and more people aren't interacting in person. They're interacting using these tools. So the right tools make a huge difference. I don't interact with customers that often, so it's kind of hard to say. I can't really answer that question 100%. I think what I can say is I've been able to witness people, this is very anecdotal, but people that I've been able to meet with talk about how they were able to take the tool and shape it to meet their needs and shape their own personal needs, which has then led to way more adoption internally, because a regular project management tool has a very strong opinion about how it should be built and how it should be used, which doesn't fit every team. So there is greater collaboration. There's greater just people being open about their data and where it goes if they feel like they have contributed to the making of the tool. And with Notion, the cool part is that you get to contribute to what the tool looks like, how you use it, what things are important to you in a project management software or in a document editing tool. There's customizability. So I think the more people feel like they are part of the process of creating the tool, the more they use it, and the more people use these tools, the better for a large organization. Yeah, largely Notion began as a bottoms-up company where one person would bring the tool to their team would use it, and that team would show it to other teams, and other teams would use it. And it then, gets to a certain size where the IT admin or leadership admin goes, hey, what is this tool? Why do I have 100 people using this on 4 different credit cards? How can I consolidate? And that's how we then, create enterprise accounts. Because Notion was bottoms up and it's now reaching that level of enterprises asking, what is this tool? We are building more enterprise facing features, an audit log. We're building a bird's eye view type feature. We're building more workspace admin controls. So we're moving in that direction, but it is still largely bottoms up. We don't have very, very many top-down deployments that I can think of. It's mostly people that use the tool, find it useful, that bring it to their company. I mean, if you look at the trends in the last 5 years, software has become very specialized. I think an average company now has 85 to over 150 pieces of software that they pay for. So software has become very, very, very specialized. There's a tool for almost anything out there now. The general thesis of Notion is that all of these very specialized tools have very strong opinions about how you should do whatever that tool is asking you to do. And you can't edit that tool. You can't make it work for yourself. The idea behind Notion is it is a more generalized tool in a industry and in a software market of specialized tools, which means when we go to a company, we're like, hey, we can do document editing, and we can be your wiki, and your company intranet, and your project management tool. They sometimes go, that's not true, that can't be true. Like, that's 6 different tools, not possible. But all these tools, if you like peel back the UI layer, they're all databases that you're just like adding different views to. With Notion, we added a bunch of different views, and we're really like, we think that this is going to be maybe a transformative way of how companies use and deliver software. It's not let me go buy a new, UX research tracking tool. Maybe the answer is let me download a new Notion template that is made for UX research tracking. That just gives me a different view on a database that I already know how to use. And then you don't have to learn how to use 6 different tools. You learn how to use Notion, and you just get different views on them. So software definitely is, I think, becoming more specialized. We might be bucking the trend in the wrong direction. I think time will tell. But the general thesis here is if you have one tool you can learn to use really well that can do many things, it's better than a number of specialized tools. Yeah. I don't actually have the answer to this question. I can probably find it if you give me like an hour. There's a document that I have access to that has this data in it. But I can tell you that a lot of students use Notion. A lot of students in university use Notion. We know that Notion does really well there. We know that these students can enter the workforce and bring tools with them that they like. One of these tools is Notion. So we're seeing some penetration in the market that way. I really don't think we see a battle of generations with Notion. I know Slack had this whole like Slack versus email like campaign they would run. I don't really think we have that because Notion is not trying to pioneer a net new category of tooling. Like, it is a document editor. You use Microsoft Word. You largely understand the basic components of Notion. So I really don't know if we're seeing maybe generational battles of the tool or anything. I think what has been cool is I've seen people that are in like the older generations like Notion because it is easy to use. It doesn't require too much the learning curve is not that steep. It's easy to get started. You can use a template, and you can learn from people around you.
I use the term battle because when you use to generate documents through Microsoft,
yes.
Or Google, or Workplace, or I don't know, it's really addictive. The way you even create something from scratch,
yes.
A document, a spreadsheet, a database, and so on. So that's the sense of my question. So,
yeah, I think we see it. We see like the proliferation of Notion across an organization. Like once someone understands what they can do with it, they want to use it for everything. And I don't think that's like a generational segmentation or anything. I think it's across the board. Everyone who gets the value of Notion uses it. I think my parents are like Gen, I don't know, X maybe. But like I show it to them and they're like, oh my God, I will do all my grocery notes here. And like I will use this for my own personal use cases. And like, a dad who works is like, I'll use it at work. I think it's easy to learn, it's powerful. It requires some training, but I don't see a huge generational gap there.
Okay, thank you. That's the power of your UX. That's incredible. And that is particularly addictive.
It is great. No, it's very cool. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I don't think we specifically go out to build features that will, encourage diversity. Like we're not looking at it in that kind of lens. I think when you build a tool like Notion, what we have noticed is that it has alleviated a lot of pain for what we like to call like neurodivergent communities, people who have ADHD, people that have dyslexia. Notion makes it easier for them to process information. And we continue to build features for them. And we want to keep people with disabilities top of mind when we build Notion. So, adding stuff like voice to text, making sure that we have screen reader capabilities on Notion, things like that is really important to us. And I think as Lauren was mentioning, we try our hardest to be in the world and to be world leaders of the community and use Notion. We try to hear from people across the world about how they want to use Notion. We have ambassadors in all the different countries we hear from, and we want to make sure it works for everyone. It's not a tool just for tech companies in SF. And that was a goal very early on. And I think still to this day, we have way more usage internationally than we do in the US. So we build for that. We localize Notion. We're always working on a new language. I think we just launched German support this week or last week. So we're always building new language support. We want to meet users where they are. So I think like, yes, we want to like be that tool for everyone, but it requires incremental steps. And we're trying to make those steps as quickly as we can. And I think the first barrier is just language support. So we added Korean, we added Japanese, we added, I think, French, we added German, and we're thinking about like Spanish and things like that. So it's a journey. I think it's very difficult, and it's not entirely fair to ask a brand new or like a smaller company to like cater to everything out there. I think we have tried our hardest to cater to whatever we can. But it's a journey, it's a process that we're like on. And I think we love to hear from people about what they want us to care about, so we can better like meet our users' needs and our users' values.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome.
That was perfect.